Alright, this video is probably going to get us in big trouble with some people. We typically make videos about the best things to do in particular cities, and we usually try to keep all of our content pretty positive. But there's one place in all of Florida that we've got some problems. And here are the 6 things that you'll probably hate about Miami. While Miami certainly has some wonderful qualities, it is known for its beautiful beaches, its warm climate year-round, and its vibrant culture. But there are definitely some things that you need to be aware of before you go. The first thing, and probably one of the things that we hate the absolute most about Miami, is the traffic. Alaina and I have both lived in congested cities before, but the problems that we have with the traffic in Miami go well beyond just the congestion. The roads are super confusing, they're always under construction, the roads are congested, but on top of that, it's the way that people drive. I used to live in Silicon Valley, which meant that there were lots of wealthy people who worked for the tech companies, and I saw a lot of sports cars there, but nothing compared to Miami, and nothing compared to the way that they drive those sports cars in Miami. There just seems to be on the road a combination of people who are going under the speed limit and swerving all over the road, maybe tourists, maybe snowbirds, and some of the seasonal residents who come down. And there are people who are driving normally like 5 to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. I get that. But in addition to that, you can expect to see people going over 100 miles per hour in their sports car, flying down the road, weaving in and out of traffic, and all kinds of things. Have people doing that on congested highways, and you have yourself a very dangerous and scary situation. So if you plan to visit, just know that there's going to be some congestion on the roads and that there are going to be some dangerous driving conditions, and be sure to drive defensively. Be aware that if something is only 5 to 10 miles away, it may take you an hour to get there, and plan accordingly. The next thing that you need to be aware of is the weather. And while the weather is hugely attractive to people visiting Miami, it can also be incredibly brutal, especially in the months from July until about October. That time of the year is known as the peak of hurricane season, and it is incredibly hot outside and super humid, and it rains nearly every day, potentially all day long. Florida weather can be so unpredictable, and if you think that they're not good at forecasting the weather in your area, you should try living in Florida. I don't think I've ever gotten an accurate weather forecast the entire time that we've lived here. So as you plan your day, just know that you can't really plan your day, especially those times of year. It is going to rain at some random point throughout the day, and it will rain hard and heavy, and you do not know how long it will last. My best recommendation would be to try to come sometime between the months of November and May if you can do it, but that's spring break season, and that leads us to our next problem with Miami, and that is the crowd. When the weather is beautiful in Miami, everybody and their aunt knows about it, and they travel from all over the world to be here during that time. January, February, and March can be absolutely jam-packed with both snowbirds and spring breakers. And the spring break crowd can be absolutely insane. There can be incredibly loud parties everywhere. The way that they dress is absolutely atrocious. There are plenty of viral videos all over the internet about the kind of behavior that you may encounter during spring break season in Miami. That ranges from people getting violent and aggressive with one another in the streets to people literally driving down I-95 twerking on the hoods of their vehicles. I'm not making that up. And that leads me to the next thing, the way that people dress in Miami. Listen, I get it. The message of the day is body positivity, etc., but have some dignity. Far from the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition that you might be imagining in your mind, the truth is that there's a lot of people who shouldn't be wearing what they're wearing at the beach. I'm talking about old men in swim briefs and Speedos, and women walking around in nothing more than just a shoestring. Listen, you don't have to dress like that to have a good time. And it might be better for everybody else if you didn't. Number 4, let me talk about the attitudes of the people in Miami. I don't know what it is, but Miami is basically the New York City of Florida, and people are just ruder down there. Is ruder a word? It's definitely an attitude. And granted, I realize that my wife and I are from South Carolina, and Southern hospitality and Florida are not exactly the same thing. But trust me when I tell you that a lot of people in Miami are just the next level of rude. And I think my biggest complaint with this comes with the fact that if you dine down by the beach areas, then you can expect that they're going to add a gratuity to your check. but whatever they charge doesn't come with a higher level of service. They don't have to work for your tip, so they won't. Obviously, I'm painting with a broad brush, and not everybody in Miami is mean and rude, but there just seems to be a higher percentage of people who just don't care and aren't very kind in Miami than maybe anywhere else in Florida. And finally, number 6 is the cost. Miami's economy is very unusual. It's a very wealthy city in one regard. And along with that, what you end up with are the extremes, like extremely wealthy people and extreme poverty. But it's just a very expensive place to live, and it's a very expensive place to visit. The restaurants cost a lot, and I told you a moment ago that gratuities included and the service isn't really all that great, but also I have yet to have a meal that I actually enjoyed in Miami, and we've spent a lot of money at various places to eat. The food is just overpriced and overrated in my estimation. Hotels and attractions can be pretty expensive because of supply and demand. But I think another sneaky hidden cost is the cost of parking. It's very expensive to park anywhere in Miami. And you're going to have to pay for parking just about anywhere you go. So if you are planning to go to the beach or to do something that you think is going to be of a low cost, then you need a plan that you're going to have to pay for parking. And you can expect to pay up to $20 or $30 for parking for just a few hours. It's not uncommon. If you're doing that at several places, several times a day throughout your vacation, then that can really add up. So when you factor in the cost for what it's going to cost you to go to Miami, make sure that you actually think about the cost of parking each day and where you're going to do that and how much it's going to cost. So here are the 6 things that we hate about Miami. Do you agree with our list? Tell us in the comment section below.